You know, we go to Washington, D.C. on a Saturday. You know, I just want to let you know a secret, the Robert class isn't there on Saturday. You know, the presidents at Camp David, Congress, wherever they go to their own districts or whatever, and everything's closed except, you know what's open? The museums. And so who do we get pissed off? We piss off the tourists. They're like, well, I came here and I wanted to go to the Lincoln Memorial and I wanted to go to the Washington Memorial, but all these crazy hippies were in my way. You know? And so you know, we can do protesting more intelligently. 600,000 people on a Saturday will not change policy. 1,000 people on a Wednesday blocking the mall, and then that 1,000 people are replaced the next, because they're going to get arrested, replaced by 1,000 people the next day who get arrested, and we kind of piggyback on each other. Now that would change policy, I believe, if we were willing to do committed civil disobedience. If we were willing... I've gotten arrested so many times in D.C., all the cops there know me. And we talk about, oh, have you arrested me before? And this one guy who arrested me my first time, then I got arrested my second time and I ran into him in the jail. And he told me that after he put me in the paddy wagon, because I made them carry me to the paddy wagon, and he said that right after he did that, his mom called him and yelled at him for arresting me. And he told me, Mom, I was just doing it for the cause. So he believes in our cause, you know, so anyway, but what I'm proposing is to create healthy subsystems. You know, where we can do things to step outside of the rubber class. For example, we can grow our own food. We can have food growing co-ops, or grow as much of our own food as we can. You know, here there's a very short growing season. California is all year long. I live in an apartment, so I grow my own herbs. If you can't grow your own food, then join a food co-op. Or a food growing co-op if you can. Join, you know, go to local farmers markets as much as you can. Keep your dollar locally. Food grown out of season and shipped in someplace costs an awful lot of energy. A lot of energy that we really don't have. Economically, what can we do? I think that there's two foremost things that we can do economically. The first one is take your money out of banks. Okay, and by banks I mean banks like B of A, Chase, Citigroup. What are some of the other of the big?
Those are the worst.
Those are the worst, but they're for profit. Those banks are all for profit. You know, I can take my money out and put it in my sock drawer because I don't have that much. But, you know, you can take your money out of a bank, for a for-profit bank, and put it into a local credit union that's not for profit. And credit unions aren't for profit, and they're made up, they invest in your community. You know, you're paying Bank of America to invest in, you know, Thailand or something. Local credit unions invest in your local community. And also, they're usually made up of board members from your community. Get on the board. Get on your local board of education. You know, do your politics locally where you can make a difference, or you have more of a chance of making a difference. A man the other day told me, I think it was in Princeton, he said, I think we should get Howard Zinn's book, People's History of the United States, in every school district in America. And I said, you know what? Yeah. I love that idea, but I said, why don't you start with your school district? You know, where you might have a chance of doing it. And to me, we have such a large country with so many people that it's so hard to reach over 300 million people. But it's easy to reach 3 people. You know, my daughter went to a high school before school was out in California. School was out in California, I think, like around June 12th or something. And she went to a local high school in Oakland that is heavily recruited by the military, right? She did it with World Can't Wait, the We're Not Your Soldiers action of World Can't Wait. And she was there from 7 o'clock in the morning till school got out. She was out there till 4. If you knew my daughter Carly, you would know how much she would have to care about this to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock in the morning is when she's usually going to bed. She's a grad student, right? And so she talked to, they had a table, they talked to students right next to the recruiters. She went into classrooms and talked to students, told the students about her experiences, Casey's experiences, my experiences, how it feels to lose a loved one in a totally immoral, legal and immoral war. And 2 students came up to her at the end of the day and said, you know what, I was going to join the military, but now I'm not. You changed my mind. I need you to turn the fans back on, Ellie. And they were just really noisy. And is it better to change 2 people's minds or 0 people's minds? And if we all have that attitude of reaching out to a few people and changing their lives, that would spread. That would spread this way. And once it spread this way, the only other way it could spread would be that way. I don't think very many good things come from the top down. And when good things have happened, it's only been after generations of struggle. You know, the anti-slavery movement took generations. And, you know, the women's suffragette movement, the union movement, the civil rights movement, you know, all the good movements that have helped people in this country took literal generations, but I don't think we have generations. You know, I think that we have to start changing now. And the change first comes here. You know, not to try and go and camp out in front of a president's house, you know, and get some media attention, but start here and here and build foundations. Build a movement that has foundations. So if one thing happens, the whole thing doesn't crumble. And if we do that, like I said, I believe that we will create our own healthy systems that don't rely on the robber class systems, because they need us more than we need them.